Have you ever felt like you're fighting battles no one else can see? You open your eyes in the morning and your mind is already sprinting, thoughts colliding, doubts creeping in, pressure building before you even touch the floor. You push through your day pretending everything is fine, while inside a storm is brewing. Most people spend their lives trapped in this cycle, overwhelmed, reactive, and ruled by whatever life throws at them. They let fear dictate their choices. They let doubt sabotage their progress. They hand over their power to circumstances, people, and emotions. But what if I told you there's a mindset that breaks this cycle entirely? A way of thinking so strong, so steady, so unshakable that once you adopt it, people feel something different when you walk into a room. A presence that commands respect. A mindset that makes weakness step aside. Today, we're stepping into the mind of one of the greatest warriors in history, a man who mastered not just the sword, but himself, Miyamoto Musashi. A legend who didn't just win over 60 duels, he conquered the hardest opponent any of us will ever face, our own mind. And if you clicked on this video, it's because deep down, you know you're meant to go further. You want discipline. You want clarity. You want the kind of mental strength that makes you unstoppable. And that's exactly what you're about to unlock. Musashi isn't just a name from ancient Japan. Behind that name is one of the most extraordinary examples of resilience, discipline, and psychological mastery the world has ever seen. Born in a chaotic era of constant conflict, he entered his first duel at just 13 years old and won. That victory wasn't the beginning of a career, it was the beginning of a legend. But here's what sets Musashi apart. He didn't rely on talent. He didn't rely on brute strength. He understood a truth most people never realize. The mind is the ultimate weapon. While other samurai obsessed over technique, Musashi was building something far more dangerous. A mind that could not be broken. He wasn't only a warrior, he was a philosopher, a strategist, an artist. His teachings in the Book of Five Rings reveal something far deeper than combat. They reveal a roadmap for living with mastery, purpose, and inner power. Many opponents surrendered before facing him, not because of his sword, but because of the aura he carried, an unwavering confidence that shook them before a single strike was made. Musashi broke traditions, created his own style, Niten Ichiryu, and became a living symbol of a truth that still applies today. You must conquer yourself before you can conquer the world. Modern psychology agrees. Harvard researchers describe this as psychological resilience, the ability to stay clear-headed and emotionally steady under pressure. Stanford neuroscientists have found that people who train their minds like this actually rewire their brain to remain calm in chaos. Musashi figured this out centuries before science ever proved it. But what does it actually mean to develop a monster mindset? Not anger, not brutality, but unshakable mental strength, built on discipline, focus, and the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is falling apart. Think about the last crisis you faced, an argument, a financial setback, a loss. Most people panic, shut down, or react emotionally. But what if those moments were actually opportunities? What if every struggle was a lesson? What if every hardship was shaping you? Musashi didn't run from difficulty. He grew stronger because of it. He saw adversity as a teacher, and that's the essence of the monster mindset, turning pain into fuel, turning discomfort into growth, turning fear into strategy. Your enemy isn't fear. Your enemy isn't weakness. Your true enemy is letting those things control you. When you face challenges head-on, with courage, awareness, and discipline, you become someone rare, someone steady, someone others look at and think, there's something different about him. Because a monster isn't loud. A monster doesn't flinch. A monster is the one who refuses to back down. And the science confirms it. This mental framework literally rewires your brain, making you more resilient, more controlled, and more capable under pressure. Musashi didn't just leave behind victories, he left behind principles, lessons born on the battlefield, but perfectly suited for modern life. And this, right here, is where the monster mindset begins. Not with inspiration, not with motivation, but with daily action based on timeless principles. Principle 1. The way is in training. Musashi's first principle is simple, but it hits with the force of a hammer. The way is in training. For Musashi, every single day was a battlefield for self-improvement. He didn't train just to defeat others. He trained to defeat who he was yesterday. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think training is about the big moments, the intense sessions, the dramatic breakthroughs, the hours that feel heroic. But Musashi knew the truth. Mastery is born in the quiet, ordinary, unglamorous moments, in the fundamentals, in the repetition, in showing up, especially on the days you don't want to. Your routine isn't just a routine, it's your training ground. Every small task you complete, every repetition you execute, every mistake you correct, all of it is shaping the person you're becoming. If you want excellence, you cannot rely on motivation. You must rely on discipline. Think about it. Musashi practiced the same sword movements thousands of times, not because he lacked skill, but because he understood a truth most people ignore. Excellence isn't a breakthrough. It's a habit, a daily one. Daily practice is the most direct, tangible way to build your future. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start, repeat, evolve. Every day you skip your training, someone else out there is moving ahead. Every day you show up, you separate yourself from the crowd, the ones who quit the moment things get uncomfortable. A UCLA sports psychology professor puts it simply: elite performers in any field share one trait. They treat every single day as an opportunity for deliberate practice, no matter how they feel, no matter what's happening around them. The difference between an amateur and a professional isn't talent, it's consistency. Principle 2. Understand the damage and the benefit in all things. Musashi's second principle is quieter than the first, but just as life-changing. Understand the damage and the benefit in all things. Musashi never acted without intention. Every movement, every strike, every decision was purposeful. He knew a victory could be dangerous if it fed the ego, and a defeat could be invaluable if it sharpened the mind. This is where most people fall apart. They make choices based on how they feel right now, not on who they want to become. They chase comfort instead of growth. They pick the easy path instead of the meaningful one. Musashi lived differently. He approached life like a strategist, always thinking ahead, always aware of the long-term consequences. He understood a timeless truth. Sometimes you must lose a battle to win the war. Sometimes temporary pain is the price for permanent strength. This principle teaches us to move with awareness. Before you act, pause. Ask yourself, does this decision move me closer to my goals or drag me further away? Does it strengthen my future or sabotage it? Is this building the person I want to be or keeping me trapped in the person I'm trying to outgrow? In today's world of endless distractions, this clarity is rare and powerful. Social media, toxic relationships, mindless scrolling, empty entertainment, they seem harmless, but slowly, quietly, they drain your discipline, your focus, your potential. Living without strategy is living without power. But when you begin to see the hidden cost and hidden benefit behind every choice, everything changes. A behavioral economist at MIT has found that truly successful individuals apply this mindset to every part of their lives. Not just finances, but relationships, habits, daily routines, and even emotions. They understand the secret Musashi understood centuries ago. Every choice is either building you or breaking you. Principle 3. Perceive what cannot be seen. Musashi's third principle may sound spiritual at first, but it's one of the most practical skills you can develop. Perceive what cannot be seen. Musashi didn't dominate through strength alone. He won by reading the room, reading people, their energy, their intent, their hidden motives. This is intuition, sharpened over years of experience. Not magic, not mysticism, just awareness, raised to a level most people never reach. Most people stumble through life half asleep. They miss opportunities because they aren't paying attention. They walk into conflict because they can't sense the tension. They make bad decisions because they only see what's obvious, never what's underneath. But Musashi mastered the invisible layers of reality. This principle is about training yourself to notice what others overlook, to read body language, tone shifts, micro-expressions, to sense the energy in the room, to understand the dynamics beneath every interaction. In your daily life, this looks like presence. It means knowing when a conversation needs silence instead of words, when a situation calls for patience instead of speed. It means learning to read between the lines of other people and of yourself. As this awareness develops, something incredible happens. Patterns begin to reveal themselves. You recognize dishonesty before someone finishes their sentence. You feel a business opportunity shifting long before it collapses. You sense when a relationship is drifting into danger. This skill becomes a silent advantage, an invisible weapon. A cognitive science professor at Oxford found that individuals with high situational awareness show increased activation in the brain regions responsible for pattern recognition and predictive processing. They're not psychic, they're simply more observant. They see what others never notice, and that's why they win. Principle 4. Adaptability. The fourth principle is one of the most striking in Musashi's entire philosophy: adaptability. Musashi understood a truth that most people still refuse to accept. The same technique doesn't win every battle. He changed his posture, his style, his rhythm, even his mindset, depending on the opponent and the moment. And this may be the greatest lesson for our era. In a world evolving at lightning speed, refusing to adapt is the quickest path to stagnation. If something isn't working, change it. If a plan fails, redesign it. The mistake isn't falling down. The mistake is clinging to what no longer grows you. A researcher in organizational psychology at Wharton noticed this exact trait in resilient leaders. They treat every setback as data, not as a personal flaw. They recalibrate, refine, and rise. Now that you understand Musashi's principles, it's time to bring them into the harshest battlefield of all, real life. Because having a monster mindset isn't something you talk about. It's something you live in the smallest details of every day. The gap between knowing and doing is the same gap between watching a workout video and actually going to the gym. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. In your work, think about your job, the pressure, deadlines, expectations, insecurities. Most people react impulsively, drown in anxiety, or freeze under stress. They blame their boss, complain about conditions, or make excuses for why they can't succeed. But Musashi didn't react. He responded with strategy, with presence, with mastery. When faced with a threatening opponent, he didn't panic. He observed, he adapted, he executed. Bringing this mindset into your daily work means focusing on what you can control. You can't control your boss's moods, but you can control your attitude. You can't control the market, but you can control your preparation. You can't control politics, but you can control your professionalism. This is acting with precision, not impulse. When others break under pressure, you become the calm center, the one people look to for stability. According to a Northwestern University psychology study, employees who develop this mental resilience become 31% more productive and 37% more likely to be promoted. Not because they're the most talented, but because they're the most reliable under pressure. In your relationships, now look at your relationships. How often do conflicts arise simply because you didn't listen deeply or didn't perceive the moment to step back or step forward? How often do emotions hijack your responses? Musashi could read an opponent's movement before the attack even came. You can cultivate a similar emotional intuition. You listen with intention. You notice the signals. You avoid battles that don't need to be fought. This means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Knowing that winning an argument can mean losing the relationship. It means having the strength to apologize when you're wrong and the wisdom to set boundaries when you're right. Most conflicts aren't about what's being said. They're about what's underneath. The need for respect, safety, or understanding. When you learn to read these deeper currents, you stop treating symptoms and start resolving the real issues. This is also the path of the warrior. Strength isn't domination, it's mastery of self, used to uplift others. In your personal development, and then there's the most important arena of all, your own growth. Think about the fear that keeps you from starting something new, the feeling of not being ready, the voice that tells you to wait for the perfect moment. Musashi didn't wait to be ready. He trained while he fought. Every mistake was a lesson. Every challenge was a stepping stone. He understood something most people never learn. Readiness isn't a requirement for action. Action creates readiness. When you adopt the monster mindset, every difficult moment becomes a training ground. That public speaking task that terrifies you, training ground. That business idea that feels too risky, training ground. That uncomfortable conversation you keep avoiding, training ground. There is no defeat for the person who chooses to learn from everything. Life won't spare you, but you can choose to face it with courage, strategy, and purpose. According to a Yale developmental psychology study following people over 20 years, individuals who embrace challenges instead of avoiding them show dramatically higher achievement and life satisfaction. A daily ritual to build the monster mindset. If you want to become this version of yourself, you need a simple but powerful routine, something that sharpens your mind every day the way Musashi sharpened his blade. Here's the secret difference between successful people and everyone else. Successful people build systems, not wishes. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Morning intention. Setting. Before you touch your phone or let the world distract you, define your intention for the day. What will you conquer? Procrastination, fear, a task you've avoided. Write it down. Turn your intention into a commitment. Strategic action. Choose one action that represents that intention. A workout, a study session, a tough conversation, something done with full presence. This isn't about being busy, it's about being purposeful. Evening reflection. At night, review yourself. Where did you grow? Where did you slip? Did you act like the person you're becoming or the person you're trying to leave behind? This simple ritual, repeated daily, forges an unbreakable inner structure. A Duke University professor found that people who follow structured daily rituals show a huge increase in grit, the ability to stay strong through long-term challenges. More importantly, they feel in control of their lives. So in last, here are final words. You don't need to live in feudal Japan to be a warrior. Your battlefield is your mind, your habits, your fears, your daily choices. Musashi teaches us that true strength is built through discipline, strategy, and the courage to confront your inner battles. When you embrace this monster mindset, you begin shaping a life of purpose, resilience, and transformation. The mindset you forge today determines the battles you'll win tomorrow. So, tell me in the comments, what battle will you conquer today? If this video inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this message. Until next time, keep your mind sharp and your spirit unshakable.